And Gary, I woke up with that sense of a bit of a reoccurring nightmare. England fans probably done the same this morning. It just didn't happen again for England, did it? That final hurdle, they couldn't quite go over it.
Yeah, I have to say that last night felt like we'd experienced it one time too many. This morning feels just the same. Really disappointed. We've been here before, obviously 3 years ago, where we lost the final, and those lads have been here before. But I suspect this will be a crushing defeat for them, crushing defeat for the manager as well, but also for the fans, because there was that hope that because of obviously the tournament, the way in which it had gone, and we'd saved ourselves with penalties, with last-minute goals, there was a feeling that this would be the time, and it didn't happen. You've got to give credit to Spain. Spain were the better team in the tournament. They were the better team on the night. And you sometimes, at least gain some sort of what would be, I don't know what the word is, to be honest with you, but at least you recognise that the team that's won it is the best, and that they've played some fantastic football. And they did again last night.
You mentioned some of those players. We saw Jude Bellingham's frustration. He kicked an ice cooler. Jordan Pickford was in tears. John Stones couldn't even watch the Spain celebrations. How do you think they might feel waking up this morning knowing that just another chance has slipped away? And you've said it before so many times throughout this tournament, you never know when you're going to get that opportunity again.
No, I said that actually when I first watched Gareth in a tournament in 2018 when they reached the semi-final. I wondered whether they'd have that type of position again, and they have repeatedly actually. And I think there'll be a few of those lads this morning will be waking up thinking, is this going to happen again? There'll be those lads that wake up and think, we're young enough to, make it happen again, but maybe don't realise how good an opportunity it was. Because obviously these moments don't come along very often. Tournaments themselves only come along every 2 years. The Euros every 4 years. And there were so many England fans obviously travelled over last night. There must have been about 40, 50,000 of them in the stadium, all believing the same thing, that this was the moment that we could rid ourselves of what's happened in the last 30, 40, 50 years where we haven't won anything. But sometimes football will sober you up. And all those feelings you get of positivity, of it's our time, can sometimes pass away when you get onto the pitch and you play against a fantastic group of football players. And that's what happened last night. We, over many, many years, have had that feeling that they've got extra men than us on the pitch, and we had it in that game against Spain.
Yeah, I think we all felt that. There was just that sense that maybe, just maybe, we get to witness something special last night. Let's go back to the beginning, if you like, and Southgate's selection, particularly that of the England captain, Harry Kane. One touch in the opposition box last night. You were quite critical of his performance at half-time. Did Southgate get it right? Did he change him early enough? Should he have even been starting last night's final?
I mean, those questions will continue to be asked, obviously, over the next few weeks. I've said a number of times in this last couple of weeks, whether it'll come out or not, I'm not sure now, because of obviously the fact that they've lost the way in which they have. But I'd be amazed if it doesn't come out in some way that Harry's been carrying some form of injury and patching himself up to get out onto the pitch, because he physically never looked himself during the tournament. And I think everybody could see that. It's not a technical thing with Harry Kane. It's not a performance thing. This guy's England's best ever in his position. It's more about the fact of his mobility around the pitch, and there's no doubt he wasn't free. And Gareth took him off relatively early last night, and obviously you're looking at that sort of touch map there of Harry, and that's just not him. But it has been in this tournament, and there will be questions, of course. But Gareth's been loyal. Gareth, over this course of this tournament, has had a plan, he's had a strategy, he's not changed it much. That at times has brought criticism from everybody, thinking that there needed to be an interference and sort of be more, I suppose, more interfering with his team selection. But he's got us to a final, and the plan was working in getting us to a final. And he has got a lot of, experience, Gareth, in managing these types of tournaments. But Harry's performances were nowhere near what the level that he set. And ultimately, there will be question marks. Whether it will come out about him, because obviously if it comes out in the next couple of weeks, he's been patching himself up, it may bring further questions as to why he was picked, because of the fact that he was carrying an injury, if that is the case. But it does feel like he was to me.
Yeah, he definitely didn't seem himself over the past few weeks, did he? Luke Shaw, the only other change last night. Should Gareth have done more in terms of selection? You know, I know we've got to this point, but it's a final, and it's not about losing a final, is it? It's about going out to win. Did he get his selection right? If he had the chance to go out and play that game again tonight, what do you think he might do?
I mean, look, I'm in the stadium, I'm on television, and Gareth's in the hot seat, and there's a reason for that. But the only thing that I felt at half-time, I thought Watkins should come on for Kane. I thought Gordon should come on the left, and that Bellingham should get off that left-hand side and go back into central midfield. I just felt that we needed Saka, Gordon and Watkins up top, because we were playing deep, obviously. We weren't playing deep, we were being pushed back deep by a fantastic Spanish team. And when you're playing deep, you have to have a counter-attack. And we were almost like a counter-attack strategy, but without a counter-attack in the team. And that's what I said at half-time. I felt Gordon should come on. Now, that could have been Eze on the left. But I felt that Saka, Gordon and Watkins were the actual right three front players for us to be able to travel from box to box where we were so deep, high up the pitch, and have people who could carry the ball with pace. And connect as quickly as possible to that front, to that front man, who would have been Ollie Watkins, obviously. So I think that they're the two changes that I thought would have happened. It didn't take long for him to make the changes, where he brought on Palmer and Watkins. I just felt Palmer could have come on. He's a fantastic player. He scored the goal, but I did feel like we needed pace in wide areas.
You mentioned that fantastic Spain midfield and the possession stats. I mean, they clearly back that up, don't they? I think it's 65% possession to Spain, 489 passes completed by them to England's 289. And that was with Rodri off for half the game. That, I guess, tells the story of the final in its own way, doesn't it, Gary?
Look, you can win football matches in many different ways, but I think when you're playing over a 7-game tournament, England have kept the ball at times in games against inferior opposition. But when you play against top teams and you're playing at the end of a competition and you're having to chase the ball around, we've all been there as England players in many, many different tournaments. I think until we can master the ball, technically find solutions to work our way out from the back under pressure, the Spanish put us under great pressure, I do think we will continue to fall short. You may get over the line. We nearly did this time. And you can win a game playing counter-attack. There's no doubt about that. And that's where I think we were last night. We were playing counter-attack. But with Mainu, with Foden, with Palmer, Saka, Kane, Bellingham, all on the pitch, I do believe we've got players who can actually keep the ball and be technically better than we were. And every single player that came and did an interview said that we could have kept the ball better. And I said last night on television that should be the actual title of England's book for the last 30, 40 years, and the one for the future. Because we're going to America to play a World Cup in 2 years' time, and it'll be hot in many of the states that we play in. And if you haven't got the ball, it's hard work, and it wears you out over a tournament with the travelling. If you're basically sort of chasing around the pitch often. And there's no reason now, with the technical players that we've got, why we can't keep the ball better. People will say that, yeah, we have possession in this tournament, but I'm not counting against some of the teams that we've played against. I'm talking about the very top teams in the biggest moments. I think keeping possession is very important. Last night it became critical to us because we were dead on our feet out on that pitch. The lads couldn't move around and they needed to hold on to the ball, and they couldn't get hold of the ball off the Spanish. You're right, Rodri comes off. Fabian Ruiz was absolutely sensational. Zubimendi, who came on, was excellent as well. But they have a way of being able to control the game. And I've said this for many years, at Manchester United, when I played at United, we won the odd game with counter-attack, but over the course of a season, we had to control football matches because you just don't want to be without the ball. It's hard work. And England play without the ball in too many big games against too many big opponents.